This is my eyeshadow palette review for February. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I have my February eyeshadow palette review for you. I tried out 6 new to me eyeshadow palettes, and today I'm going to be showing you all the close-ups, swatches, and all that. And I also include some looks that I've done with every single pan in every single one of these palettes. So let's get cracking. So I actually now feel a lot better now that it's the end of February and I managed to get these 6 eyeshadow palettes out of the way in my review. I told you when I showed you these for the first time that I was incredibly overwhelmed because I just had so much makeup in and I was like, ugh. But now that I've given a lot of things a shot, I feel a lot better. So I'm no longer as overwhelmed as I was, and doing this video right now has definitely contributed to it. There are some Asian beauty brands in here and 2 palettes that were sent to me in PR by Lethal Cosmetics. I'll start with the ones by Lethal Cosmetics because those were sent to me in PR. They sent me their Serpentine palette as well as their SpongeBob palette. I received both collections. Out of the 2 collections, the eyeshadow palettes were my favorite things, you could say. So these things looked really interesting to me. I did take the lock that the SpongeBob palette comes with off because it's just a bit finicky. I'll talk about this one first. This is a really beautiful eyeshadow palette. Both of these are. I do feel that this month there wasn't really anything that was a dud for me. Nothing where I was like, oh, that really didn't work. The only thing that I had with these Lethal palettes is that I wasn't a huge fan of the shimmers in these. So the SpongeBob palette, as you can see here, is a really nice, bright, colorful eyeshadow palette. It's essentially blue with some green and some purpley pinks, and then you just get a yellow in there. It is beautifully laid out. The shades work together really well. I have no issues there. It's just that some of the shimmers were a little bit thin and they were very difficult to pick up with a brush. Now that depends on how you want to use your makeup. I always use a brush first to see whether a shadow can be picked up with a brush, because if you can pick up shadows with brushes, they're easier to blend and you just have many more options with that shadow. These work best with fingers. I do always go in with a second layer with a finger and then they do work a little bit better, but these do feel a little bit stiff, you could say. It's like I needed multiple layers for them to look as shiny and shimmery as I had expected them to look by looking at them in the eyeshadow palette itself. Is it beautiful? Yes. Was I able to pull a couple of really stunning looks out of this? Also yes. The mattes in here is where the palette truly shines. So if you're a lover of matte eyeshadow, I think you're going to really like this if you're looking for something a little bit more vibrant and interesting, because it has some really cool, interesting mattes in here for sure. But as I mentioned, I just really wanted something else with these shimmers. I just didn't get them as intense, as quickly as I wanted them to be. You can get them there, but I need to apply so many layers and I need to do it with fingers, which I always do this. If I very often use my middle finger for this because I feel I have the most control, because I can use my ring finger to stabilize it. With this one, it's a bit awkward. So that's why I always use my middle finger. I've got weird fingers, don't worry. So I kind of go like this, but then that already takes up most of my eye space. So then how can I be precise with these? How can I apply these to the lower lash line, to the inner corner? And I found that with these shadows, I just didn't have the options that I wanted to have. Now, I do have to say that I'm very, very picky when it comes to my eyeshadow. And that just has to do with the fact that I've been an online content creator for 15 years. I know exactly what I like. And this wasn't quite it. But just because it doesn't fit my preferences doesn't mean that it cannot be right for one of you guys. That's what I want to point out here. I think this is great, especially if you're a beginner and you don't want things to be too crazy, because very often with indie brands, especially their shimmers, can be really, really intimidating. And I feel that this is a really good middle ground. You get really nice, easy to use mattes that you can use for setting up the look. It's bright and fun and colorful, so if you want to play with colorful shades, then this can definitely be a palette that you might enjoy. And the shimmers that are in here are really good shimmers. They go really well with the mattes in here. They blend together really well. Like, it's a very complimentary eyeshadow palette, so I do really like it for that reason. It's just that if I compare this to other things I've tried in the past and things that I currently have in my makeup collection, I feel that I have better things, but that doesn't mean that this is a bad eyeshadow palette at all. And I can extend those thoughts really to the Serpentine collection. This one I feel is a little bit more unique in terms of the color story. The SpongeBob is just your average, bright, colorful sort of palette, I feel. This one is a little bit more interesting, and in here, there were a couple of shimmers that I felt were really good. So that's why this one was a little bit more successful for me than the SpongeBob one. You get this really nice sort of like green with purple side going into these like maroony pinks going into neutrals. That's sort of the way it works in my brain. You can keep this very pared down and a little bit more like neutral and wearable for every day. That's what I did with one of the looks. And you can go full out by combining some of the more vibrant things this has. One of the weaker shades is this vibrant green. It's like a neon that has quite a bit of white. It therefore is a little bit chalky. So that one is perhaps best layered over a white eyeshadow base. If you have that, like a cream white base, usually makes shades like this pop a little bit more if that's what you want. The shimmer I was most impressed by is this purple right here. No issue applying it with a brush, and I actually happened to I wanted to film a couple of the looks that I did this month for my short series that I'm currently working on. If you're not watching my shorts, please do so. I post them 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm trying to center that around things that are in my Shop My Stash to show you how I applied those things to my face. And I happened to film the look that I did with the greens and the purples in here, and it was my favorite look that I did with both of these Lethal palettes. So I'm really happy that that is the one that I managed to capture for you guys, because it was really beautiful. The pinks in here didn't stain, which was a surprise to me, because very often these kind of shades are very prone to staining your lids, but these didn't. So I was really happy with that. The greens were actually worse because I had to take that look off straight away to do a different look again. And the greens were a little bit more difficult to take off than the pinks in here. So that's good to know, because pinks can be very, very scary because of they can just make it look like you've got an eye disease within a hot minute. The other shimmer that works really well in here is this really beautiful, it's almost like a holographic shade. I did a very basic look with this peach and the gray, and then there's this all over the lid. And it was so beautiful. It was really, really pretty, but that's probably not why you would buy this eyeshadow palette. So I feel there are, again, a couple of pros and cons with this one. The mattes in here are beautiful as well. I did feel that this more vibrant green, which I tried to put in the crease, wasn't as easy to blend as some of the things in the SpongeBob collection were. So the SpongeBob one I felt had better mattes. This had slightly better shimmers in. They're very comparable. Again, the differences are minute here. I have tried Lethal Cosmetics in the past. These are the first things I've tried from them since they've rebranded at the end of 2025. I mainly have tried their Freedom system though. So I mainly have Lethal palettes that I've put together myself rather than things they've done standard. So these are the first pre-made Lethal palettes I've ever tried. And to me, I do feel that the old formula that I have in the Freedom system, I like a little bit better. However, I also remember from those Lethal palettes that they did the same level of shimmer in all of their shimmers. There was no in between. And I do feel that in these palettes, you do get more variety in terms of the types of shimmers you're getting. Some things are a little bit more flaky. Other things are a lot more smooth and have even a little bit more of a satiny almost quality. They're not satins in the traditional sense, but they just have a very smooth texture, and they're not gritty or anything like that. So I do really appreciate the formulas in here. I do feel it's different compared to what I've tried from Lethal in the past. I think you would be really happy with these if you haven't tried a lot of eyeshadow yet, and if Lethal is a brand you can get your hands on really easily, then I think these can be worth it. These were sent to me in PR. I believe both of these retail for around the $50 or €50 mark, which, seeing how many shades you get, I feel is okay. If I look at the formula I get, then I feel that at that price point, if you buy something like a Cosmic Beauty or Gloss Gots, that kind of retails for the same price point than this is, and I like those formulas better. So do with that what you wish. Next up, I tried two Cheeryep eyeshadow palettes. So these were both launched at the same time. The darker one is the Starcore that they did in collaboration with Freya, and the light blue one is Dreamcatcher. And these were all beautiful. I'm just gonna say it right off the bat. These are beautiful eyeshadow palettes. All four of the ones that I have remaining, I really adored. I had a lot of fun playing with my eyeshadow this month. So much fun. Like, I haven't felt this creative with my eyeshadow in years. It's like this complete new boost of originality and creativity and techniques I want to try and placements I want to play with. It's been a whole thing, so I've really, really loved that. So you will have already noticed also in some of the looks that I've shown you with the other two palettes that I haven't just stuck to like a shade in the crease and then something like I've done other things this month, which I'm really happy with. Still, that is my go-to for the most part, so especially if I'm getting ready for work, I need something that I know is gonna work. So I tend to stick to things then, but on days off, I've definitely been going out there a little bit more, which I'm enjoying. This is the Dreamcatcher. Very, very light, very, very ethereal. If you want to look like a fairy princess and you want it to be blue toned rather than pink, because they also do things that are a little bit more pinky, it's light. It does have a little bit like pinkiness here in the corner. These matte browns are super light. They almost have this rosy, mauvey, sort of purpley undertone to them. Beautiful. Then we just get some neutral browns here, some gray tones with some baby blues. This shimmer is amazing, and that's also where this palette is sort of a bit letting down. It doesn't have enough shimmers for my liking. You get this one, you get this one, this is a shimmer, and then we just have this light gray shimmer here. I wish there was more, but yeah, you do need to bear in mind that with Cheeryep, how many shimmers you get in the palette does determine the price point. So because this is a little bit more matte heavy, it is cheaper than the other one I'm about to show you. Yeah, this is beautiful. It's very easy to wear. If you're incredibly fair skinned, if you have a cool to neutral undertone and everything looks too dark for you, try something like this, because it is absolutely stunning. But the Starcore has to be my favorite of the two. This is a much more unique color story. You do get some shades in here where I'm like, would I ever put those together again the way I put them on my face today? Probably not. This is also very, very dark if you have my skin tone. Like, so much darker than I would want to go for, but hey ho. We get some purples here, these grayish blue tones. I did a look with that, and I wore that look in videos, and some people loved it, and some people hated it. They were like, it's way too dark on you. Sometimes I just want to wear the shades, okay? You get a black and a nice dark brown, these really nice, like, icy blues that go really, it's almost like periwinkle, but gray toned. Really beautiful. I love this shimmer. It's life. This shimmer is absolutely gorgeous. This shimmer is gorgeous. This shimmer is gorgeous. And then you get these reddish peachy tones. So this is the cool tone side of the palette. This leans a little bit more warm tone. That's the way it fits in my brain. It's absolutely beautiful. These are incredibly pigmented. And especially this shimmer here. Like, you can see now that I've used it with a brush how many different shades there are in there. There's purple, there's green, there's gold, there's a little bit of peach. And the other Freya palette collab that they did, these Fleeting Life, the red one that I also have, also has one of those really special shimmers in that you won't find anywhere else. So yes, this is a little bit more expensive than the Dreamcatcher, but in my book, it's very, very well worth it. And I just feel that these are excellent palettes, especially for the price point. These give you 16 shades, and I think the more expensive ones are around like 35 euros on YESSTYLE, which is where I got these, so that to me is a good deal. Then I wanted to try Anthemy. This is a brand I hadn't tried before. This is their, what's it called again? I don't remember. Something like Dreaming Sheep, something like that. It's essentially 50% pastels and then these deeper, darker tones. That's how I split the palette into two looks. worked really well for me. And this is really beautiful, but it is a little bit prone to creasing. So if you don't like creasing eyeshadow, this may not be for you. For me, it worked out pretty well. You have this beautiful multi-chrome in here. It's like a pink to gold to green. It's really special. You get this really nice, almost holographic lavender shade right here in the middle. So the shimmers that you do get in here are gorgeous. It's the mattes that I wouldn't really put together in this palette. That's the only downside. So color story wise, I'm not entirely sure how much I would reach for this again, but it's got some really beautiful shades in. It is very pigmented eyeshadow. Like the lethal ones, you still have a little bit of time to play with it and to control it. With this, honey, forget about it. This is just boom, pigment in your face. Works with brushes, works with fingers. You don't have to blend for days, and this doesn't have a lot of kick up as well, which I also enjoy. But they're intense shades, so know that going into it because you may not like that. So the Anthemy palette is really pretty, but these are again quite expensive. They are a Chinese beauty brand, but these are like 50 euros or something like that. I got it in the Black Friday sale for that reason. I wish this was cheaper. Like if this was like around the same price point as the Cheeryep, then I would have liked this a lot better than I do now. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but that's how I feel about that one. And then we have the Shellwe Makeup X Ghoul in Japan collab, the Nocturnal Flame. Mine arrived a little bit broken because this shade was popping out, but I was able to press it back in, and it's been absolutely fine. So I can now hold up the palette for you. It's got a row of like neutrally shades. I wouldn't even call them neutrals because this is a gray. And then oranges. This multi-chrome that's like a dark brown with a green flip. It's really interesting. You get some mint bluey green shades, some charcoal grays, and like this silver, but it's not a silver. Because on the eyes, I felt there was a little bit more to it than just a straight up silver. Really beautiful. I love this. I went with a look with this and a look with this row because that just kind of made sense in my brain just to test out the formulas. I didn't love this shade. This was very flaky, difficult to pick up with a brush, and yes, I was able to make it work using my fingers. These are also really pigmented. In the look I did with the oranges, I really feel that because of how I was trying to blend it, I didn't, like, sometimes it just, I don't know how this happens, but then I look at myself in the mirror while doing my makeup and it looks really nice in the crease, but for some reason when I took the pictures of this, it looked like I had gone in a straight line. I was like, that's not what I did. So this looked a little differently, I felt, in the images from how I experienced wearing it in real life. These have great lasting powders. These didn't crease on me. I was able to use that top row look, and I went dancing and I went to a yoga class and it was still on at the end of the day. So this is incredibly long-lasting eyeshadow. I do have to say though that especially this mint shade, very powdery, a lot of kick up. So you do need to clean off your eyeshadow palette once you're done using it. That's the only downside with this. Maybe that's also why I struggled blending that orange a little bit, because sometimes if eyeshadows have a lot of kick up, they kind of aren't picked up very evenly on your brush, and then when you start blending, it kind of goes all over the place. So that may have happened. It may have been user error. I'm not gonna knock the palette for that reason, but yeah, this is beautiful. This is very different from what I normally wear. I don't normally love orange, but there's something about these. They almost have like a pinky undertone. They're more like an orange that pulls red than a true orange, and that's why I feel they work. I do want to contrast the oranges with the blues at some point and with these darker grays. I think that's going to work really beautifully as well. I can see so much potential for this. That's also why I bought it, because I looked at this when this was launched and I saw it on her TikTok and I was like, that is something I've never seen before. I want to try this. So went onto YESSTYLE, found it. It had 25% off. I was like, I'm just going to buy it. And this does come in a smaller format as well that is a little bit cheaper. So if you don't want to spend this amount of money on an eyeshadow palette, again, around the 50 euro mark. But if you buy the smaller ones, those are around 30, I believe. So that you get rectangular pans for each shade. But this, I really love it. I love the packaging of this. Goes with the vibe of the palette so, so well. And I thought that this was a lot more wearable than I had expected. I was like really like pushing myself. And now I'm so much looking forward to what I will be testing out for you in March, because I have some of the gray with red tones that came in the past couple of weeks that I will be testing out in March. And now that this was so successful for me, I'm like, I know I can make that red eyeshadow work as well, because red eyeshadow makes me a little bit nervous. But like I said, I've been feeling a lot more creative than I have done in recent years. So that's been a good thing. So this was my eyeshadow palette review for February. I need to sign off because I need to go catch a train. So thanks so much for watching me here today. Follow me on here for 4 makeup videos a week, or follow my other channel, Floating in Books. The link is in the description box down below, where I talk more about lifestyle-y things, and you can find other links where you can find me on other social media as well in the description box down below. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.